Ok, gracias.
All right, the court calls case number 656361, State of Texas versus Jesus Antonio Garza. Ms. Valle, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that in this proceeding you will accurately translate from English to Spanish and Spanish to English to help you out? Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Garza, would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that in this proceeding, the information and responses you submit will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Sí, lo juro.
Thank you. You may put your hand down. Mr. Garza, you were originally charged with driving while intoxicated with a blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. We commonly call that driving while extremely intoxicated. You are accompanied by your attorney, Ms. Yadira Villarreal. Before we proceed, I need to make sure that you know and understand that there are certain rights and protections that you are granted as a person in the United States. First of all, you have a right to remain silent. That means you cannot be compelled or ordered to make a statement. You cannot be compelled to answer questions. You cannot be required to submit written legal papers with your signature, especially papers that admit or confess to wrongdoing. Do you understand that you have the right to remain silent?
Sí,
You have the right to a jury trial. That means that you and your attorney and the state's attorney could select 6 people from a pool of disinterested citizens who would hear this entire trial, all the evidence, all the witnesses, materials. That jury would decide whether you're not guilty or whether you have been proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. That's called the right to a jury trial. Do you understand you have that right?
ujú,
I need a yes or no, sir.
sí,
Thank you. You also have the right to what's called a confrontation of witnesses. What that means is if you decided to go to trial, the state, the prosecutors would have to present testimony, witnesses, to attempt to prove you guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Those witnesses, you would have the right with your attorney to question, cross-examine, or challenge on any kind of legal challenge that you might have. Again, question, cross-examine, or challenge. And that's called the right to confront witnesses. Do you understand you have that right?
sí, lo entiendo.
All right, there's another right. It's called the right to appeal. Once this case is over, you and your attorney would have the right to demand that a higher court review the official record, evidence, testimony, everything in this proceeding and trial for whatever legal challenge you wanted to make. You would have to be careful because there are particular requirements, including time limitations, a correct form and substance of the paperwork. But that is called basically the right to appeal. Do you understand you have that right?
Ok, entiendo.
All right. Furthermore, you have the right to demand, and by the way, the state also has this same right. You have the right to demand this proceeding, this hearing be held in the open public courtroom. Because of the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, we're not doing that. But in order to proceed, you had to go and review and sign a document that identifies you and says that you consent to conduct this proceeding by video conference. Did you review with the assistance of your attorney, Ms. Villarreal, the consent to video conference?
Okay.
Is that a yes, sir?
Sí.
Okay. Now, did you review some documents for this proceeding, some legal documents, with the help and the guidance of your attorney, and that you signed?
Sí.
The papers that you signed with your lawyer's guidance, did you understand them?
Ajá. Sí.
Do you have any questions or doubts that have not been answered?
No, ninguna.
All right. Do you read and write English?
No.
All right. The documents that you reviewed, were they translated for you by Ms. Villarreal or someone that speaks Spanish?
Sí.
Now, are you a U.S. citizen?
No.
All right. The record will correctly reflect that you are not a U.S. citizen at this time. Now, Ms. Villarreal, I'm sure you're familiar with the Supreme Court requirements under Padilla versus Kentucky.
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you assured, can you assure this court on the record that Mr. Garza has been appropriately and properly counseled in regard to consequences that could result to his immigration status, if any, or to his deportability?
Yes, Your Honor, I do practice immigration law.
Okay, so you are a qualified immigration attorney.
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. All right. Now, did you in fact assist and guide Mr. Garza on all the documents that he has signed
Yes, Your Honor.
for this case, of course? All right. Thank you. Now, Mr. Garza, I've informed you of your rights and protections. Now, there's a document that you have reviewed and signed. It's titled Trial Courts, pardon me, it's entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. That document repeats the different rights and protections that you have, that you are giving up, and it repeats it in writing. Do you understand the document I am talking about?
Sí, lo entiendo.
Okay. That document identifies you and says what you're charged with and what you're pleading, what kind of plea, guilty, not guilty, or no contest, and the charge that you're pleading to. I've told you the original charge was extreme intoxication, that is driving while intoxicated with a blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. We will hear in a moment if there's a motion that's being submitted, but leaving that aside, the document I'm referring to tells you what you're pleading to and what your plea is that you agreed to do. Then there's a section in there that has 15 numbered declarations. Some are short and some are a little bit bigger. One of them asks you if you ever had any kind of involvement with a sex offender program. I presume that you have not.
No,
All right, and also, there's one that tells you that the deal that you have made with the state is not binding on me as the judge. As the judge, I have the authority and responsibility to either say yes or no to the deal that you're making, the plea bargain. I also have the authority to give you any punishment in the range of punishment provided for the offense that you're pleading to. If I give you a punishment within the proper range, but heavier than what you agreed to, or if I reject your plea bargain outright, in either case, the law would allow you to start all over again. Do you understand that?
sí lo entiendo.
Thank you. All right. Now, is he going to get deferred or regular probation or probation at all?
Deferred probation, Your Honor.
All right. Now, does the state, obviously it will, but does the state have a motion?
Yes, Your Honor, the state would move to abandon the extreme intoxication enhancement and proceed on a DWI first.
Defense, any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
There being no objection,
No.
the court grants the motion. Mr. Garza, you are no longer charged with DWI with blood alcohol content 0.15 or higher. You're no longer charged with extreme intoxication. Your attorney has succeeded in getting this matter lowered to a DWI first, which among other things, lowers the punishment range. And it is very important that you do that occurs for you. In addition, we're about to recite and hear from the state that there's an agreement to grant you deferred adjudication. Now, let's talk to you about what deferred adjudication is. You will be entering what, a no contest plea, state defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You will be entering a no contest plea. A no contest plea in this court is considered a guilty plea, and it is sufficient by itself for me to convict you, give you a final conviction that follows you the rest of your life. In this particular instance, I am informed that there will be an agreement for me to grant you deferred adjudication. And what that means is I will make a recitation that it in effect says I am not finding you guilty. And with that, there are some great benefits. Among the benefits, if you live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision, you will not have a conviction that follows you the rest of your life. If you fail or refuse to live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision, then the state may ask me to give you official notice, bring you in for a hearing, let them present evidence, and if to me it's sufficient, I can then file or enter a final conviction that follows you the rest of your life. The benefit of deferred adjudication goes out the window. And then you're looking at a punishment range from 0 to $2,000 in jail, from a minimum of 72 hours to 180 days, almost a half a year locked up. Do you understand the consequences of failure to live up to 100% of the conditions?
Sí, entendido.
All right. Now then, you did understand when you applied for deferred adjudication, you understood the forms that you were signing?
Sí, entiendo.
All right, one other thing, there's a form that's in there that wherein I declare to you, I certify as the judge that because you're entering into a plea bargain agreement, you do not have a right of appeal. Is that clear?
Sí, está claro.
All right. So officially and for the record, to the charge of DWI, is it DWI or obstruction? It's DWI first, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
To the charge of DWI first, or misdemeanor B, what do you officially plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Es culpable.
Ms. Villarreal, is that what you want him to plead?
No contest, Your Honor. We have discussed it.
Mr. Garza,
No lo entiendo.
to your benefit, your attorney is guiding you to say that your plea is no contest. Do you disagree with that?
Ok. Ok.
All right. All right, I accept your plea of no contest. I remind you that a plea of no contest in this court is considered a guilty plea. You understand that?
Ok. Sí entiendo.
All right. So based on your plea of no contest and the evidence, I find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not find you guilty at this time. Instead, I am granting you deferred adjudication. State, recite for me the agreement and punishment.
Yes, Your Honor. The agreement is a $500 fine plus court costs, 11 months deferred adjudication, 48 hours community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, TAP evaluation, and ignition interlock for half the term.
All right, Mr. Garza, before I assess the punishment, I've heard the recommendation. How do you make a living? What do you do to support yourself and any family you may have?
Yo soy mecánico.
And what do you earn per week or per month?
A la semana se podrá decir que $700.
Okay. Do you have children that you support?
Sí, uno.
How old is that child?
13.
Okay. Does the child live with you or with the mother or both?
Con los dos.
Okay. All right. Then I accept the recommendations on the sentence. I grant you 11 months deferred adjudication. You are fined $500 plus court costs. You will complete 48 hours of community service restitution. You'll complete in good faith the DWI education program, the victim impact panel. You'll submit to a TAP evaluation and the recommendations. You will have installed in your vehicle the ignition interlock system for 5.5 months as a minimum. Five and 1/2 months for the ignition interlock. During the entire 11 months that you are more, that you are on probation, you're not to drink any alcohol at all. certainly not use any illegal drugs. Your supervisory fee is going to be $29 a month. Do you have any questions, sir?
No, ninguna.
Do you have any questions, Ms. Villarreal?
None, Your Honor.
Any questions from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Now, two things, Mr. Garza. One, you're required to report to the offices of County Court at Law Number 5. They're around behind the courtroom, where you will have your thumbprint placed on documents, in this case, as required by law. Secondly, you will not leave this hearing, or you will participate briefly in a hearing with Ms. Marisela Luna, who will start you off on the probation system. I will remind you that you have to live up to 100%, every bit of the conditions of supervision. Those conditions are going to be read to you by probation staff. You're going to sign them. You're going to have a copy in your hands. If there's a problem later on, you're not going to be able to tell me that you did not know the conditions, because those conditions are going to be in writing, signed by you. We understand each other.
Sí,
Very good. I wish you good luck. I hope you take care of yourself and your family. Be blessed, be well, be safe. Stay out of trouble. I highly recommend you don't drink anymore, because it's going to wind up getting you deported, among other things. Ms. Villarreal, thank you for your assistance to the gentleman.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions, anything else?
No questions, Your Honor.